The following is a presentation of Learfield IMG College.
This is Duck Insider.
Give it to Verdell. He's got the first down and gone. Duck fans start celebrating. Oregon is the 2019 Pac-12 champion. The 2020 Rose Bowl champion.
Richardson, another open three. Good. Duarte dribbles and slams with the right hand. For the third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
Holy three. Good. Holy ball. Down Shelley. Three ball. Good. Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
I got to tell you, everybody, as we start a new week, there is a buzz around the Autzen complex today. A buzz that I haven't felt in a while. And dare I say that it feels a little bit like football season. Hello, everybody. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for joining us for Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. So we're inside the Country Financial Studio, which is located on the second floor of the Casanova Center. And if you walk out of our door within the Casanova Center, immediately take a left, then immediately take a right, you're looking at Autzen Stadium through that big glass window on the backside of the Casanova Center. I say all of that because it gives you a perspective of where we're located, and even though the majority of the University of Oregon athletic staff is still working from home and working remotely, there's just a buzz around this place. Maybe part of it is because school actually officially starts for University of Oregon students tomorrow, and teams like the Oregon baseball squad are having their first team meetings. Yeah, Oregon baseball had their first socially distanced team meeting at PK Park today. They tweeted out the picture. And, man, wild times, different times. We're going to hear from Oregon Athletics Director Rob Mullens. We're going to hear from Oregon football head coach Mario Cristobal today. But I'll tell you what, it's wild, but it sure seems like it's here, and this is exciting. Before we get to some football updates from Mario Cristobal, Rob Mullens, I will be monitoring your Facebook comments and questions. A lot of your questions will be answered in the comments that we're going to play from Rob and from head coach Mario Cristobal. But a little weekend recap, if we could, to celebrate some pro Ducks. Deion Jordan made some great plays for San Francisco. Ugo Amadi made some great plays for Seattle yet again. And how about Justin Herbert's second start? Injury scare, but he came back in. I think every Duck fan was holding their breath at that point. His TD throw to Keenan Allen was on the money, almost had the comeback. I mean, we're talking maybe another inch on that lateral, and Egler would have walked in. So to Justin Herbert, tip your cap for what he has been able to do. That's been pretty fun to watch. And meanwhile, back with our current Ducks, because Oregon football is back in the rankings, number 14 in the AP poll for the Ducks. Remember, they were in the preseason poll inside the top 10. Now some other games have happened, and the Ducks are back into the AP poll with Pac-12 football resuming here in a few weeks. Now, football practice is going to start not this coming Friday, but next Friday. And Mario Cristobal will tell you more about that, and let's hope that we're going to continue to see the Ducks in that top 25 ranking. Also for our current Ducks, one who has elected to become a pro Duck, and that is Javon Holland. Posted a really nice farewell and thank you on Twitter. At Hollywood Vaughn is where you can find him. And on tomorrow's show, we're going to relive the very best of Javon Holland's career, including how he got the nickname Hollywood Vaughn. We're actually going to do that. But you can check out his entire thank you post on his Twitter. And to Javon Holland, wishing you nothing but the best. And I'll tell you what, one just quick story about Javon Holland. There are not very many guys that wear the number 8 at the University of Oregon. And there's not very many guys that have worn the number 8 since Marcus Mariota wore the number 8. Javon actually was very aware of that. And the way that he approached it when he was awarded that number, exactly what you'd want from a guy who's so easy to root for, and wish Javon Holland nothing but the best. Looking forward to seeing him at the next level. And again, tomorrow we're going to relive some of the best moments of Javon Holland's career. Okay, without further ado, I want to get to Rob Mullens. I also want to hear from Mario Cristobal today. A lot of information to unpack. I'll do my best as we go through with this and sort of recap it for you a little bit and get you caught up on everything that's going on around Oregon athletics. There's still a lot of unknowns and still a lot of decisions to be made, but on Friday in a press conference with the media in the afternoon, Rob Mullens did outline a lot of the different questions that we're all wondering about. And again, dose of reality, the cases in Lane County are continuing to spike. So everybody, wear that mask, stay socially distanced, wash your hands, do everything that you can. And then we hope that we'll be able to get back to celebrating together at Autzen Stadium here before too long. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens meeting with the media.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Hope everyone is healthy and safe from both the pandemic and the historic wildfires.
Thanks, Rob. First, congrats on the SBJ nomination. Can you speak to it, since you were on the committee for a number of years, what you view as the viability of a Pac-12 champion, presumably a 7-0 Pac-12 champion, up against other teams for a playoff spot when the Pac-12 is going to be playing less games than everybody, at least on paper right now?
Yeah. Thanks, James. Appreciate the question. Listen, I think that the committee has a charge, and the charge of the CFP committee is to choose the 4 best teams for the playoff with a set of criteria. And I think a 7-0 Pac-12 team will be given every consideration. This is going to be a unique year. We're all going to have to be adaptable, and we just don't know how many games each team is going to get. And we've already seen a number of games postponed, some canceled. So, as a Pac-12 team and as the University of Oregon, we just need to go take care of our business, win all that we can win. And I'm confident the committee will look at who are the 4 best teams when they think about those playoffs.
Hey, Rob, question for you about basically the revenue side of things. I mean, obviously, this is not going to be an ideal year for revenue for the athletic department. What kind of things are you guys doing to brainstorm creative ways to produce revenue in these unprecedented circumstances?
Hey, AJ, hope you're doing well. It's really difficult. As we've shared, I think on the previous call here and in other forums, the revenue, the net impact to us at the University of Oregon is going to be somewhere in the $50 million to $80 million loss range. And that's a big gap to fill. So our first order of business is cost containment, and we've made a number of really difficult decisions around cost containment. Our entire staff has taken a 10% pay cut. We've eliminated performance incentives for FY21. We've had to take about 10% of our staff and start on leave without pay. We had a number of other staff that had to be a part of a work share program this summer. So a lot of difficult decisions. On the revenue side, obviously, tickets and donations are a big piece of our total revenue pool. And so obviously we're going to continue to communicate with our season ticket holders. Some have already converted their season tickets to donations. And we'll continue to look at a number of other methods that other teams have looked at, whether that's fundraising programs, if there are going to be no fans in the stadium, are there things that we can do with our multimedia right partners or in other ways that would be a revenue opportunity. We'll explore anything and everything.
Rob, welcome back, so to speak. I was wondering, there's been about 22 postponements or cancellations with the other conferences, the other teams trying to get through this. You guys obviously have waited for the daily rapid testing. Do you think that technology and that commitment will kind of help the Pac-12 avoid some of the problems other conferences have had? Because obviously you guys don't have as much of room for error with bye weeks and stuff.
Sure. Hey, Ryan, good to see you. Although I feel like I see you every day when you're walking your dog. It's hard to predict, right? We do know that when we went into this and decided to postpone, that daily rapid response testing was a key piece for a lot of reasons. And yes, that'll be helpful, but you still don't know. It's hard to predict what's going to happen. The teams that are going to be successful are those that really have the culture, the discipline, and are adaptable and do everything you can to keep as many people ready to play as possible. So yes, with our 7-game schedule, our 6+1, and our patience and our thoughtful approach to getting started, there isn't much flexibility if a game gets postponed or canceled. So we'll be doing everything we can on the front end with the health and safety, which has always been our priority, to get in as many games as possible.
Hey, Rob, thank you so much for jumping on here and talking with us. Obviously, this year has brought so many challenges, from the end of the athletic and academic calendar last year to it affecting this one with the pandemic. I'm just wondering, what is your takeaway from the leadership aspect of the conference? What are some things that you really, what's your overall impression, I guess, of the conference's ability to lead in this time of unprecedented chaos, for lack of a more encompassing term?
Yeah, thanks, AJ. I think there has been incredible collaboration and communication on so many levels, and coordination at the conference office. Obviously, there's not a playbook for how to manage a pandemic. Back from the very beginning in March, when we started with canceling the Pac-12 men's basketball tournament, all the way through now to the announcement of yesterday, what the leadership that's come from Commissioner Scott and his staff, the leadership that's come from the presidents, the way the athletic directors have come together, the way that they've established a structure of a variety of working groups to be prepared, to be ready, to look at different models, to create dialogue, to make sure that everybody has input into the decisions that are being made. I have been really impressed. Obviously, we spent a lot of time on Zooms with ADs, with the conference staff, with our football coaches, our men's basketball coaches, our women's basketball coaches, our Olympic sports. And I've been really impressed and appreciate the tireless work that so many have put in to be prepared for any scenario.
Hey, Rob, hope you're doing well. Good to hear from you and see you again. Yesterday, during that Pac-12 press conference, President Show kind of mentioned that the conference was going to go into this whole thing. I think his phrasing was eyes wide open, in the sense that, if there was a spike in COVID cases among the community, they would be open to shutting this whole thing down again. I'm curious, though, is there a delineation there between spread within the community, say like what's going on in Eugene right now, and spread within the teams and the athletic departments? And if a community spread, but not a spread within the team per se, is enough to stop play once again, and if those discussions are kind of being had between the athletic department and the presidents and the conference?
Sure. So I think the structure. Great question. Obviously, we've been guided all along with the experts that were on our Pac-12 Medical Advisory Group: infectious disease experts, sports cardiologists, public health experts, as well as our own team physicians and trainers. And that back to the previous answer, that coordination has been phenomenal. So we've gotten a lot of guidance from there. We take that guidance and we spend a lot of time with the incident management team on our own campus, which has outstanding leadership from Andre LeDuc. We get to work closely with Krista Dillon, who provided outstanding input and direction. In addition, we spend a lot of time talking to Lane County Public Health and then the Oregon Health Authority. And the Pac-12 guidance and our own guidance does contain scenarios whereby we may have to have an off-ramp. Obviously, community spread is a piece of that. Spread amongst the team is a piece of that, as well as, are we making sure that we can still have the ability to quarantine new positives, our ability to maintain our testing protocols, the ability to do the contact tracing that's required. So we'll continue to have ongoing dialogue with all of those groups, whether it's the Pac-12 medical group, our own incident management team on campus, Lane County Public Health specifically. And again, the driver, the priority in all of this is the health and safety of our student athletes as well as our community. And that'll just be an ongoing evaluation and dialogue.
Just as a quick follow-up to that, if I may, in the scenario of if the case numbers among Eugene rise exponentially as they've been doing, but there have been no exponential rise within the football team, what do you do?
Oh, well, we continue to have conversations with Lane County Public Health. And we continue to rely on our daily testing and the discipline of our student athletes to make sure that they're creating their own little mini bubble when they're away from our facilities, and continue to monitor, what are the numbers within our team. And then again, we're always going to make every decision based on the health and safety of our student athletes in our community.
Hi, Rob. Thanks for the time. Yesterday, Larry Scott discussed, he didn't say no, didn't say yes about 9 a.m. kickoffs. It doesn't really matter now from a fan perspective because they're not going to be here. But from a school perspective, what are your thoughts on potentially having to play 9 a.m. football games this fall?
Yeah. Hey, Matt. We discussed that a couple of years ago when Fox started with their big noon Eastern time kickoff. And for us, a 9 a.m. kick is difficult because of the wake up time, what time you'd be eating breakfast. And while it doesn't impact the fans, it would still impact our student athletes. We haven't dug deep into it. But now, Matt, when you layer in the daily testing that's going to be required and the length of time it takes to do that process before you know who's even available, I don't think the University of Oregon is going to be raising our hand for a 9 a.m. kickoff.
Just curious, how much of a blueprint did you guys end up laying out for a potential spring season, if that ended up being the case? And I'm just curious if you could share a little bit of what that would have looked like. And just as a two-parter to that, if a situation were to arise this fall where you guys were able to play far fewer games than you're anticipating right now, is spring completely off the table now?
I don't really. Our focus has been on what were the options for the fall here the last several weeks. So, obviously when we were looking at a post-January 1 possibility, we were looking at more of date ranges as opposed to real specifics. What would be the preparation time, the health and safety at the forefront of making sure our student athletes are ready, and then really an end date to make sure that we didn't impact the fall of 21. So, once we had the daily rapid testing from the deal with Quidel, and we started focusing on could we start November 6th, November 7th, that's been the focus. And so, we're full steam ahead with doing everything that we can to get our teams ready safely to play on the fall schedule.
What was that end date that you guys were looking at for this?
I don't know that we really set a specific end date, but we wanted it to be as early as possible, again, to make sure that that we didn't have any impact on the fall of 21.
What's been the timeline in terms of getting a hold of the Quidel machines and then getting up to speed with that? What that process look like?
Yeah, good question. So the machines were delivered middle of this week. And with the machines, it's not as simple as turn it on and execute. You have to get a certification from your campus. And then also you have to train the staff that are going to run the machines. So we're in the process of doing that now. I think the machines arrived Wednesday or yesterday. I know they did some training yesterday, probably going to do some further training today. Make sure that we have them certified for the facilities that they're in and get everything up and running, and so that we're ready to execute when the time comes.
Hi there. I had a question. As we all know, lots of students like to gather on game days, and that won't be happening at Autzen. And I'm curious to know if you have any idea what the university or the athletic department might do to dissuade students from gathering, in apartments and big parties. Like Andrew said, your ability to be successful is in part going to be dependent on what's going on in the larger community. So how do you see the university or the athletic department's role in trying to prevent students from making the situation worse?
Well, the university and the athletic departments had a role all along. We worked closely with Oregon Health Authority, for example, late in the spring or early in the summer on the Mask Up program. Our student athletes and our coaches are absolutely willing and interested in using their platform to make sure that all Oregonians are following the guidance of their local county health authority, as well as any executive orders from the governor. And we certainly want that to continue. And we'll continue to work with Campus IMT, with Lane County Public Health, with Oregon Health Authority to do whatever we can around messaging and ensuring that our community stays safe and that everyone is following all of the Oregon Health Authority, Lane County Public Health, and governor's executive orders to make sure that we do stay safe, whether that masking up, social distancing, following all the guidelines for gathering sizes.
That's Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens talking with the media. A lot of information to unpack, and I'll answer some of your questions, Jimmy, Shane, others, in the comment section right after this. We're also going to hear from head coach Mario Cristobal. Stick with us. It's a Busy Duck Insider, and we're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union inside the Country Financial Studio. I saw Jimmy asking, since no fans will be printed in Autzen, is it possible to have home games projected on the backside of the new video board? Parking lot could be used like an old drive-in movie theater model. I've heard that. Jimmy, I think that's an awesome idea. It's all going to come down to what the athletic department and public health officials deem appropriate for such things. So I think a lot of those sorts of questions and how we can still have a safe community involvement around sports, we're hoping that we can answer those questions as best we can in the coming weeks, I would say. Shane asked earlier, any word on a schedule yet? Nothing today. Sounded like when Commissioner Scott was talking with the media last week that it was going to be this week, probably by the end of the week, you'd see a schedule coming out that we can chew on for football, with practices then spinning up at the end of next week. Mario Cristobal, the Oregon football head coach, he met with the media as well as part of the press conference, and Scott and I went through and picked out some of the highlights, if you will, of everything that Coach Cristobal talked about for nearly a half an hour. A lot of information to unpack, and Mario Cristobal talking about the Ducks.
Hey, Mario. You're going to have a heck of a secondary opportunity this year with Dante and Michael potentially having positions now. I think a lot of people are going to focus on what's been lost over the last 5-6 months, but you still have a very young, talented roster. I mean, just looking at some of those position groups, what kind of has you most excited to be coaching again this fall?
Well, there's a lot of guys back there, Tyson. A lot of people forget what a good player DJ James is. We certainly take pride in development. Circumstances are what they are, and all of a sudden, there's been some vacated slots. But at the same time, that is exciting. It's exciting for the coaches. It's exciting for these players that they weren't waiting their turn. They always approached every opportunity in the form of trying to gain more playing time, trying to take a job. But knowing that those guys now are at the forefront of how this thing looks, they have a chance to really solidify themselves as really good football players and guys to depend upon and count on. But there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys on this roster that are in similar situations. We're excited for them. We want to get to practice so we could figure those things out.
Mario, good to hear your voice again and see your face, actually. When you talked to Dennis Dodds, I think your quote was something like, "What are fans going to cheer? We're number 2 if you play in the spring." I take that to mean that you weren't too excited about spring football and are probably relieved that you're going to try to put together a fall season. Is that accurate? And what was kind of your range of emotions from having the season canceled, rescheduled, and now back on in the fall again?
Well, first off, when I spoke to Dennis, I think I was misquoted and things taken out of context in the article. But and nothing, again, there's nothing personal there. Just that I think everyone that enters a season, and the best part about football is that there's always hope. You always want to strive to being the best and to be a champion. And that being said, if that is ever eliminated, if that's off the table, it affects people differently. You know, I grew up in an era and played on some teams where you would play no matter what in a parking lot if you had to with no equipment. You just did it. But, you know, it's not the same for everybody, and that's to be respected. So it was too unclear to make a comment on. And, you know, with everything that's transpired, you want to talk about the range of emotions. It's gone up and down and all over the place. But credit to the players, credit to the staff that have really tried hard to remain steady, and it's impacted us in really strong and tough ways at times, and other times we've been able to just really find some strength and camaraderie to keep it going. But certainly it's been I guess, what's the best way to describe it? You know, you see how it's affected the roster, right? You see how it's affected the number of games during the season, and then you got to sit down and put everything in perspective and look at the way it's affected lives across the entire world in this country, and homes and businesses and all that stuff. So the bottom line is we're granted this opportunity now. Safety is still and protocol are still going to have to be the utmost priority, because just because we're starting a season and we have daily testing doesn't mean that, hey, everything is fine. Everything is fine if you follow protocol. Gives you the best chance. So I guess that leads us from all those range of emotions to just now excitement, want to get after it, you name it. You know, it's on, but the intensity is cranked up. You could feel it in the Zoom team meeting when play was announced. So the Ducks are getting ready to get after it.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask, I guess, a personnel question here. Obviously, Penei Sewell's opting out. It's significant for obvious reasons. That's now all 5 starters on the offensive line last year gone. I guess first candidates to possibly replace Penei at left tackle, and then just that whole group, kind of what's that going to look like, and what are you going to need to see from these guys to be ready November 7th, because you are replacing the totality of that group.
Sure, absolutely. No, it's a challenge. It's the right kind of challenge. I wouldn't want to dive into exact pieces on where they're going, because we just haven't practiced much. We had 4 practices in the spring, and we do see capable bodies. We're excited about the guys that are on the team, certainly excited about the offensive line. And guys are going to have to gain their first game experience in the first game, you know, and I certainly understand what comes with that. But quite honestly, and from my perspective, what comes with that for myself, for Coach Mirabal, is excitement, because these are young, powerful guys. They're skilled, they're hard workers, they have the right demeanor. And, you know, this pandemic brought what it brought. You know, it vacated one of our best, maybe the best player in the country. Well, it's time for somebody else to step up. And you know what? Challenges like that are going to arise anyways throughout the season. Other teams are going to be faced with it too. Certainly, I'm sure the rest of the conference is really happy that 58's not around. But that's all right. You know, I think as we move closer in these next couple of weeks, as we put our practice plans together, and we'll get a better feel for movement skills, what really fits that left tackle spot. Obviously, a lot of signs pointing towards Teven Jones because of how well he's played when he has played. He's played at right tackle, right guard, left tackle. He's a massive human being, incredible athletic ability, toughness, smart, tremendous just team guy, you know, and on his way to being a leader. So, but he's just one of several. I don't want to shortchange anybody or overstate, you know, someone's candidacy for that job. But we will be able to prepare 8 to 9 guys that we feel that we can win football games with.
I wanted to get your take on the timeline, when you guys anticipate practicing,
And ultimately, does this give you enough time to get ready for kickoff on November 7th?
Yeah, well, we will be timeline and calendar-wise. If you take the calendar that we were given back in August, remember the whole return to play thing had voluntary workouts that led up to 2 weeks of now accountable, your care hours, 20-hour weeks. That then led to, I believe it was exactly 29 days before your first game. Just take that, cut and paste it, and move that to what would be, I think, Monday, if I'm not mistaken, or Friday. Our first practice will take place on Friday, October, is that the 9th or the 8th? Can you find that out real quick? I apologize, guys. To me, it's almost like Groundhog Day, so I don't remember the exact numbers. But think of it as this way, as 2 weeks of strength and conditioning, 1 hour walkthroughs with a football, which is allowable, as well as meetings on a daily basis, skill instruction provided by the strength and conditioning program, before you move into your regular practice phase, which is 2 days of acclimation, wearing just helmets, no shoulder pads. Then you go to shells for 2 days and then full pads. The start of that practice day is that Friday, which is October 8th or 9th? October 9th. Okay, thank you, Tyler. And that will take us all the way to game one. How many practices do you get? Well, you have 29 days. Will you practice every day? Absolutely not. What is the key to all this, which I think this is a question that will come up, is the part I'm really proud to be a part of this administration is the fact that I know there's always push out there and noise about, hey, start, move, get going. Well, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. If safety is really the most important thing and health is really the most important thing, well, this particular regimen was set up as the safest way to prepare for a season that was given to us back in August. So that applies to us as well now in the rest of the Pac-12, because that was deemed as the best way to prepare and safely prepare. That being said, credit to our guys. Our guys went home on August 11th when we were informed that the season was moving to January, and they got into town last Sunday for a week of isolation before we begin our 2 weeks of training and walkthroughs and meetings before leading to camp. So that's the way it all comes together. Okay, so it's a traditional camp model without those, the previous weeks of training, because our guys, I would say 50%, maybe 40% were at home.
Mario, you've hinted at a couple of these topics a little bit, but I just wanted sort of considering the roster as a whole. You've recruited at a really high level for a couple of years, and you've got some young guys you're really excited about, but it's some unproven guys too. And you lost Justin, you lost Troy, you talked about the losses on the offensive line. So how do you balance excitement and confidence in your young guys with, Thomas and Diamador maybe being gone too, just, concern over just how much, veteran production you have to replace now?
Well, you do. And, that's the one part that there was never a solution for with the adjustments to COVID, was the fact that, okay, you just lost a senior class, right? You start the 2020 season, and then with the ability to opt out and guys have an opportunity to move on to the NFL, there was never a time frame or a system to, well, how do we replace these players? How can we have extra scholarships? How can we increase the roster number, replace those numbers? There isn't one for that. So that's now part of the playing field, and one you have to make an adjustment to. How do you balance excitement, optimism, all that stuff? I don't think it ever changes, quite honestly. I really don't. Not with what has come into the program, and not with what's coming into the program as well. I think everyone will have to deal with some type of hit to the depth chart at a particular position. It's usually the nature of the beast in football, and in this particular season, it's an even greater one that people are going to have to get creative. You're going to have to coach at your very, very best, and that's exciting. It really is. To have trust and have confidence in your players, okay? Prepare them to play. And in our team meeting yesterday, and looking at all those faces, 110, 12, 15, whatever it was, is, for those guys to look among themselves and realize that, and then someone who least expects it, somebody unexpectedly is going to have to make a play a series, play a game to help us win a championship this year. It's going to happen. That's as sure as the sun's going to rise and set. It's going to happen. And because that's the case, preparation And the detail of preparation from your ones all the way down to your service team, your scout teams, has got to be on point, and you've got to prepare everybody to play significant and winning football, because those situations are going to arise. So full throttle, expectations always the same, excitement always through the roof.
Mario Cristobal, the Oregon football head coach, meeting with the media. More to come from him. Next Friday is when practice can begin, with the first game scheduled for November 6th or November 7th, but that's the weekend that we're all aiming for. I did see a question I think was interesting coming from Ronald about, is there concern with guys getting injured? And of course there is. You got to have that proper buildup, and that's been a huge conversation point around the country and around the conference in particular. Having that proper buildup, that 4 weeks of traditional fall camp is really going to help, I think, mitigate some of those injuries. But I know that Coach and his staff are thinking about that constantly. Coming up, we'll hear more from Mario Cristobal. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
All it takes is one drop to make a wave. One beat to inspire a track. One spark to get creativity flowing. With every drop, Life Water refreshes your mind and restores your body. Purified water, pH balanced with electrolytes for taste. Designed with original works of art on every bottle. Let us be your source of inspiration. Life Water, the feel-good water.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics, because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
it could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, and we continue inside the Country Financial Studio hearing from Mario Cristobal. Every coach interview brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center this season. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. Mario Cristobal continuing to discuss some of the challenges ahead for his program and the personnel that will be asked to take the field for the Ducks this season.
I guess the to-do list, if you will, for the next couple of days to a week. Now that we know you're playing football, what do you, as a coach, as the head coach, want to have established? You know, when you're ready to go start practicing, what's your to-do list?
Well, how much time do we have on this call? Well, first and foremost, getting everybody in town, testing everyone, making sure everyone's okay. Always going to be number one. We've always had the calendar set. We've had our install set. You know, we've watched a lot of football the past couple of weeks to see if there's anything we would do to enhance our schemes, any good ideas. We have seen issues that come up. A lot like when you watch bowl season, right? You see turnovers, you see ball security issues, you see penalties. And then you see some schematic advantages gained by guys that have really done some really good work on themselves and on others. Where do we go from there? Okay, well, first thing is you got to find out where your team is from a conditioning standpoint. There's no time to get stronger right now. You'll make some gains during the season with your strength and conditioning department, but you don't have that summer 10-week block to get stronger, bulk, mass, explosive muscle fiber. You have what you have, and I feel like a large percentage of our team really took a really significant step up in that direction. Now we got to find out what kind of shape we're in, and we've got to progress. We've got to maintain the principles of toughness and everything else that goes with our program, but we've also got to be very smart, and we've really got to trust the data and the sports science team to see where we're at from a conditioning standpoint and keep progressing our team to be able to practice at a high level. What does that look like? I'm not sure, but I know that we're going to have to progress to it. It's not going to be the same day one that we're used to having because of, again, we've got to know what those numbers are. How much high-speed running can they handle? How much from a player load standpoint, accelerations and decelerations can a player handle? Who's really ready to deal with the conditioning of soft tissue from a running standpoint, soft tissue from a collision and impact standpoint? There's a lot. So we have our parameters set. We have our benchmark set for that as well. Installs are all done. How we're going to manage the entire camp season. And then, of course, the fact that we do start classes as well on Tuesday. And then really just being real, knowing that the keys to this season really lie in the lap of the choices and decisions, right, of your football team and your staff. Having to live a very different kind of life, right, creating your own bubble, making sure that at all costs you're wearing your mask and that you're avoiding large gatherings and that you're holding yourself and others accountable to it. So the list is extremely long. Meeting with all the players in a one-on-one situation is also critical as well. We did that before we left. Now we'll start doing that again. Making sure the guys are ready to go, and they are. I mean, they're really, really ready to go. We're probably going to have to hold them back more than get them going, and that's okay. You'd rather have that.
What are the biggest challenges these unusual times are going to present to your coaching staff over the next couple of weeks?
The fact that it's going to be different, it's and that you have to be okay with different. You have to be okay with the details. You cannot allow yourself to get caught up in the fact that some things are not as comfortable as they used to be, right? And just popping out of your car and walking out without a mask, that was normal life. That's not normal life anymore. The spacing in the meeting rooms and how we sit is different. The way that, after when we are approved for contact, when you're not in actual contact, I'm sure that setup on the sideline is going to be different. Heck, how the water bottles are set up out there is different. There's a lot of subtle differences that are monumentally important. I mean, they're critical to the operation and to being safe. And I think making sure that there's a clear understanding of why we're doing things, because like all of us, our generation and the guys that we have a chance to coach are really smart. They want to know the whys, not just what to do, how to do it, but why we're doing it that way. I think the more you can educate guys on why we're doing things and the importance of doing them a certain way, the better. And I think that's challenge number one. I don't think that's a major challenge. I think we have a group that's really ready to attack this and do it whatever it takes to get it done right. So, and then of course, we talked about gauging, conditioning and how important that is, so that you could continue to progress the plan to get ready for game one. But I don't see obstacles. I see opportunity, and I'll always consider coaching and playing football a privilege, and it has to be. I mean, what we get to do on a daily basis, the people that we get to impact on a year-by-year, month-by-month, daily basis is incredible. So ready to attack this thing, but ready to really always have our guys on the right kind of edge about making sure that protocol and safety are followed. It will pay dividends big time.
Oregon football head coach Mario Cristobal on some of the challenges ahead. And next, talking a little bit about the personnel and what the roster is looking like, and particularly in that quarterback room. I think it's time to start talking about that. We're going to hear more from the Oregon football head coach when we come back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Everybody buckle up. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Today's show brought to you by Jackson's Food Store. Stop by your local neighborhood Jackson's for all you need, and go Ducks thanks to Jackson's. We continue with Mario Cristobal, the Oregon football head coach, meeting with the media and discussing a little bit about the roster as we head into the new look 2020 football season.
I guess the to-do list, if you will, for the next couple of days to a week. Now
as we're going forward into the season here, President Schultz said yesterday that, the genie's not completely out of the bottle here, right? If there is community spread, if there's team spread, they are open to kind of putting a lid back on the year and postponing things again. So I'm curious what you guys kind of have in place, if anything, for your players and for your student athletes to kind of mitigate that spread as much as possible, or if a lot of this is going to come down to just these kids exercising personal responsibility and doing the right things to make sure that an outbreak doesn't come into the HDC?
Well, it's a combination of both. Like you just mentioned, choices and decisions are going to play a huge role. But the protocol set by our medical staff, our administration, it's off the charts. It has stood the test of whatever it was from the beginning of June all up until we let them go back home in the second week of August, I should say. So they come together. They go hand in hand. They cannot be separated. And you just cannot get lackadaisical. You can't get overly comfortable thinking, oh, it doesn't affect me. It does. It can, and it will. But also knowing that don't be overcome with fear. It shouldn't be a fear thing. It should be hey, let's do things the right way. Let's follow protocol, because we could prevent any issues. We could prevent the spread of the virus. And this is why we're doing it. I think that's the right way to approach it. Just being very real with our guys. That's always worked best. Being truthful, being honest, laying the facts on the table, and then just relentlessly attacking it just like we attack everything else.
How have you and your staff been able to recruit at the level you are at this class when the dead period has been going on for 6+ months, and when Oregon has so much to sell as a program? You mentioned all the time about getting recruits here, particularly who aren't in the region. You haven't been able to do that and get it. And until last week, there was the prospect of not even having a season, and it hasn't hindered you folks very much, it appears.
Well, it starts with our place and the people here. We all feel we're at the best place in the entire country. Then from there it goes with just being genuine and real and making sure that since they couldn't come to us, we had to bring the Oregon brand into the homes of all these prospects and their families, and the staff worked absolutely relentlessly to make all these Zoom opportunities and meetings and tours with families, brought those to life. And at the same time, I think people have seen the transformation over the last couple of years and the trajectory. And great players want to be around great players, but they want to be around great people. They want to be around great mentors. They want to be around a place that invests in its student athletes, that has processes in place that have proven to develop guys for the next level and also preparing them for opportunities in life. So it's like, we could do a recruiting commercial right here, right now, if you want to, but it's real here. It really is. And I think that because players are smart, they have access to information. They see how many players have that we've lost last year, that we're set to graduate this year as well, and that there's opportunity to play early, and that we play players. Last year, I can't remember exactly how many freshmen played, but the numbers were high, and they had tremendous success. So all that stuff and more. It just we could go on and on and on. So, and we need to, because recruiting cannot stop. But it shows it gives you an idea of the trajectory of the program and where we expect to be year after year.
Mario, I was wondering, did you get a chance to see number 10 on the Chargers act the other day? And over the course of this extended offseason, what have you seen from Tyler in the quarterback room that gives you confidence in replacing that position?
Brian, we saw number 10 now. We're watching when that alert went out. Justin Herbert was going to start the game. Impressed, but not surprised, right? We all know. You've seen enough film of him live. You've seen him do stuff in practice that he's going to carry that stuff over and have an unbelievable career. Just so excited for him, so happy for him. You could tell that the team really respects him, appreciates him, and want to play hard for him. So that was awesome. That really was. Still waiting for my Chargers cap. Haven't gotten that yet. So in terms of Tyler, I just thought Tyler proved a lot in all the opportunities he has gotten here over the last couple of years. And to me, it's always like the live opportunities against a really good defense that brings a lot of heat and that covers really well. And a lot of times behind the second and third team offensive line, especially on 2-minute drills, especially, those Wednesdays of every practice week, he has that opportunity. We send the kitchen sink at him because that's a great testing ground, and he delivers. So he's very excited about him, as the rest of the quarterbacks as well, and a tremendous amount of confidence in him and him grasping the system.
Getting ready to talk position battles with that organizational chart now. It's starting to feel more and more like football. Practice starts next Friday. First game coming with that first weekend of November. Looking forward to it. That's Oregon football head coach Mario Cristobal. Coming up, your Cafe 2-minute drill, other news and notes, answer some of your questions on football and beyond as we wrap up Duck Insider after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter, Brooklyn, was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union inside the Country Financial Studio as we get ready for Oregon football season. But some good news on your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill with Satu Sabili. She has been named to the All-Rookie team in the WNBA, a terrific debut for Satu. Joined on the All-Rookie team by 4 others, and she received the maximum 11 votes from a panel of the WNBA's head coaches. In other words, everybody thought that she belonged on that All-Rookie team. The number 2 overall pick certainly looked like it. 7.8 rebounds per game. 3rd among first-year players with 13.9 points per game. Yeah, that's pretty darn good. By the way, that rebound number, 1st among first-year players. She's only the 5th player in WNBA history to average at least 13 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game. She's the 5th first-year player, I should clarify. And she joined some pretty unique company, such as Tamika Catchings, Candace Parker, and Brianna Stewart. Pretty good names to be associated with Satu Sabili. Congratulations on the all-rookie squad. Your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill is always brought to you by Cafe Yum restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington, serving Northwest-inspired catering and takeout for your next gathering or meeting. Menus at cafeyum.com. Also today, the final day of Athletes Unlimited softball. Sad day, but still a happy day. 4 alums in action with Janie Takeda-Reed and DJ Sanders. They're actually playing right now on CBS Sports Network if you're listening to Duck Insider Live in the 1 o'clock hour. But our Toyota Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight this week is that Athletes Unlimited Softball League. You'll be able to watch the season finale tonight on CBS Sports Network, a 5 o'clock start with Gwen Savekis on Team Osterman against Team Warren and Carissa Hovingay. We've seen a myriad of Ducks on the top leaderboards of the Athletes Unlimited Softball League. Awesome stuff. Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight always brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Congratulations on a successful first season for Athletes Unlimited Softball. That is outstanding. Tomorrow on the show, more football news. Maybe we'll have a schedule. See you then.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info